All right, 2024 is a wrap, and I felt like I should make this video because I did get to skate a few different pairs of shoes this year, especially a few different brands. There are a few shoes missing from this year, one being a Janowski, the other one being a Blazer Mid, a few other Dunks, but I felt like the Blazer and the Janowski are pretty similar shoes. I feel like I've covered them enough. I feel like other people have covered them enough, so I decided to not include those. Biggest difference for me this year was branching out of different brands. We have Etnies, we have Converse, we have DC, we have iPath, and then as you guys know, obviously Nike that I usually ride. So these are all shoes here that I bought this year. I'm not sponsored by any shoe brands. I do some work with Nike, but they're not my actual shoe sponsor. So they don't actually hook your boy up. And it honestly will lead me into my first shoe when we start talking about it. I thought this kind of shoe is kind of fun to talk about. I actually don't even remember the name of it, but we will get to that shoe. But pretty much I wanted to talk about each shoe I skated this year. I wanted to talk about the things I liked about them, the things I didn't like about them, maybe things that could be improved. But enough of me just like talking about this, let's get into the shoes. So first things first, let's start out with the Nike SB Dunk Low Pro. These are usually my go-to skate shoes. There's a few reasons why. One, the big poofy tongue. I just love that for flip tricks. My board will like flip out or land on top of my foot, so the big poofy tongue is really key for me. Speaking about the tongue, on the insides of these shoes, you can see there are elastic bands right here that hold the tongue in place. Other shoes like Converse and like even these Etnies, they don't have that elastic tongue, so the tongue kind of slips around a little bit. Also, the elastic kind of keeps your foot and the shoe in, so you don't have to tie your shoes as tight. And let me mention, everything right here is all based on my opinion. Everybody else is totally different and it's totally fine. This is just what I like about all of these shoes. It might be something you guys can relate to, but maybe not. So just keep that in mind when I go through all of these shoes. And the other thing I do like about this shoe, it is a thin cup sole. And when I mean like it's a thin cup sole, this cup sole I can still feel my board. Other cup soles that are thicker and you can't feel your board much. I just feel like with this cup sole, it gives me a good board feel and also gives me protection. So the other thing I want to talk about is material. All the Dunks have different materials. So this one is all suede material. And I really like the all suede. It just like flicks really nice. It breaks in really well. And I felt like the suede lasted me pretty long as well. As you can see here, I did blow a hole through it, but I did skate these ones for a few months, so I'm not really surprised. But yeah, overall, those are pretty much all the reasons why I really like this shoe. I think it's really cool when they do all those crazy collabs and stuff with the different materials, but overall, like it doesn't really skate very well, and usually the fitment isn't very good. So that's why when it comes to Dunks, I really just like the suedes or the leather ones, or even the orange labels. They almost do like a nubuck leather, and I really like that. Enough of the Dunk, let's move on. Okay, this is the next shoe we're going to be talking about by Nike, and this is the Force 58, I believe it's called. I'm not 100% sure. I'm trying to look at the box over there, and I think that's what it says. So I believe these are the Nikes that are under $100. So there are a few things that I like about these shoes and I don't like about these shoes. For the pros real quick, one, the shoe is really lightweight. I do really like that. The second thing is it was really easy to break in. As you can see, it has a cup sole, but this cup sole is actually really thin because it's a nice hybrid between honestly a cup sole and a Volk sole. It is really nice and grippy. I was surprised about that. It definitely has a lot of give. You can move it around and whatnot. So I did like that about this shoe. Even the suede actually felt pretty decent. But as you can see, I did bust through my laces. I felt like these are like, I don't know if they're like budget laces or something, but I tore through these in one session. I literally skated this shoe for one session at the skate park, and this is what it looks like. Brings me to the cons about this shoe that I just didn't like about it. I do feel like these shoes are going to bust really quick. As you can see, like I said, shoelaces like blew up right away. Actually, I did forget to mention, the other thing I did like about this shoe is it did have elastic bands on the inside of the shoe. So it was really comfortable. It's kind of like the Dunk in that sense where you can kind of just slide your foot in and the tongue is just like decently poofy. It's not super max poofy. It could be puffier in my opinion, but it's not terrible. But back to the cons, the other thing I didn't really like about this shoe was kind of the ankle support over here. I felt like there was a few times with this shoe that my ankle was kind of feeling like not sturdy, like I could roll my ankle really easily in this shoe. Overall, it just didn't feel that stable. I wanted to test this shoe and kind of give it a chance and see what it was like. It honestly wasn't my favorite shoe. Clearly, I only skated it once. I was worried about this part of this shoe right here, kind of digging into my foot a little bit. As you can kind of see, it kind of digs in right there. And I mean, I kind of felt it a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know if it was like, it felt a little bit more narrow. If you have a wide foot, you probably would not like this shoe. So there were a few things I just didn't like about this shoe overall. I liked it, but overall decided that it was not the shoe for me. Guys, that's enough of the Force 58 or whatever it's called. Let's move on to the next shoe. All right, so the third shoe that we have right here is the iPath grasshopper. And I feel like me getting this shoe honestly was kind of a gamble, so we should talk about that. But overall, things I do like about this shoe, things I don't like about this shoe. Thing I didn't honestly like was it is kind of heavy, but the material, like all the actual leather, is really nice. I remember seeing this online and it looked kind of like plasticky leather. Like I couldn't tell if it was going to actually be good quality or not. But surprisingly, the quality on these were so good. The other thing I honestly didn't like though, I felt like the laces kind of blew up pretty quick. I don't know if it's just the placement there or whatever, but I mean, it's just laces. It's not that big of a deal. But I do admire the triple stitching on the toe cap because obviously that lasts. I skated these a lot longer than I thought I was going to skate. And honestly, these things are tanks. They definitely hold up. I believe these were like $120, these shoes. And I think honestly, for the price, I think it's built for it. I mean, even skating, the strap didn't fall off or tear off or anything. Like that's pretty good in my opinion. Tongue was pretty thick. It has elastic bands on the tongue as well, so I obviously like that about that. It has a stash pocket, so it's obviously really chill. Also, when it comes to the grip in this shoe, I know this shoe is a cup sole, but this shoe also really felt borderline Volk. You got a lot of board feel in this shoe, and the grip was really grippy. I don't know, overall this shoe was surprisingly really good. The only thing I just didn't like about it was that it was kind of heavy and it was a hot shoe. I was skating this shoe during the summertime, so it just naturally got hot. Like just being all black, your feet would just kind of get cooking in them. The more I look back at this shoe, I did really like it. It was just kind of a heavy shoe. The other thing I want to talk about with this shoe is how I got it. Because I got these shoes before iPath was actually selling them. On their Instagram, they kind of had a random link one day to buy a pair early. So I was like kind of taking the gamble and it directed me to a Zoomies link. And I was like, oh, like, is this legit or not? So I was like, whatever, we'll take the gamble. I ordered it on Zoomies and kind of like waiting and I didn't get like a confirmation. So I was kind of like, oh no, like I don't think I'm getting my grasshoppers anytime soon. And also kind of going back, I believe Zoomies was the original carrier for iPath. So I think that's kind of cool that it's like, you know, kind of going back. But anyways, long story short, when I got my box, the box said display on it. And I thought that was kind of funny that the box had display on it because the shoes weren't out yet. So I wonder if these were supposed to be like the display shoe or something. But yeah, anyways, I thought it was kind of funny. It came with an iPath sticker too, which was kind of sick. But yeah, I'm just stoked iPath's back. So if you guys haven't heard or tried iPath, maybe give it a shot. We're going to be talking about is the DC Lynx. And these ones are pretty special. These are like the Jameer colorway ones. These ones came out a few years ago. And before I actually get into the shoe, I do want to say like shout out Jameer, like thank you again. He actually sent me these shoes. I'm really stoked. Big fan of him. He used to watch some of my skate vids too back in the day. So kind of cool, full circle, like connecting and everything. But overall, so the Lynx, I skated these back when I was maybe 12 or 13 years old, like early 2000s I skated these. So it was really cool to skate these shoes again. Talk about few pros and cons with these shoes. The cons, there's really not too many. I think the one only complaint was not having like more shoelaces. I kind of wish they threw in a few shoelaces with these just because like they are like the circle ones you need. And like these ones are like nice shoelaces. They're like the hiking kind of shoelaces, if that makes sense. Like they're like, you could really beat these things up and they last pretty long, which is really nice. And it's just funny because like this shoe just doesn't have lace protection on that top hole. I mean, I guess you really don't need to do it just because the tongue is so big and it also has that elastic band on there. So it really, your foot, you really don't even need to tie your laces really with this shoe. It really just stays on, which I love. Like that's what I love about shoes like this, like the big puffy shoes with the big tongues and the elastic band. Obviously we have a theme going on here so far, as you guys can see. I don't know if it's just like a comfort thing. It's what I grew up with. It's what I'm used to. I don't know what it is, but it's just what your boy digs. This shoe is a real tank though. I skated these shoes a bunch and there's really not much wear and tear on there, as you can see. Like these shoes hold up really well. The other thing I do want to mention, if you've never skated Lynx, it has this runner toe. Yeah, it might look kind of weird, but when you flick your board with this runner toe, it is so good. There's something about the grip tape just kind of sliding off of like the toe and onto that extra little bit of grip. It just gives it a perfect flick. But then you're going to ask me, how is the board feel in this shoe? And honestly, the more you actually wear this shoe, the more board feel you're going to get. When I first started skating this shoe, probably about this first half of the shoe under like the ball of your foot and everything, you'll feel your board. You'd be surprised. It looks super big and chunky, but you do feel your board. Back here though, in the beginning, you're really not feeling too much. You got a lot of heel protection. If you're jumping down like 10 plus stairs or something, you're gonna be chilling in this shoe. But after even skating it for like a month or two, like it started to really break in. Like I was surprised, like look how much this shoe kind of gives already. It's a great shoe. And it just gives you a lot of protection. It's got the triple stitch too on the toe cap. So like this shoe will honestly probably last you like 6 months easily. And like, I don't know, even like I swear if you like were to crazy glue the stitching or something, it'd probably last you all year. Like this shoe is a serious tank. And I do want to mention the grip. I kind of thought the grip wasn't going to be that nice, and it actually is a lot grippier than I thought it was going to be. The materials they use now are much nicer and definitely are more durable and hold up. So this is just another shoe that I really enjoyed skating, and if you've never tried a Lynx, maybe try it out. And I do want to mention, this is a Lynx OG. They have a Lynx like Slim or Lynx Zero or something, whatever they call it, and you'll see the sole's a lot thinner. I haven't skated those. I'm sure they're great. I'm sure they have a lot more board feel right away. But I think I just like the style of how these look. I don't know. I think this is what I grew up with, so being able to skate it again is really cool. Also, I love the DC video growing up. I still watch it to this day, so maybe that's why too. The next shoe we're gonna move on to is the Cons 1-Star. And it's funny because I've never skated a 1-Star. Even back in the day, I would always skate like the CTS version. And the CTS was a little bit more skate built friendly, sort of say, because even around the like ankle and stuff, it had a little bit more padding, kind of like how a Vans Era, how like the Vans Eras have like more cushion on the side, where a Vans Authentic doesn't have that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. Anyways, these are the Rose Street collab shoes that they came out with. These are like the 5-year shoes. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the colorway. I love how it looks. I mean, even wearing it is super fresh. Insole is super fresh. The green pink colorway is fresh. But besides the fact of it being the collab shoe, let's talk about the actual 1-Star shoe. So I actually only skated these for one session. These were not the most comfortable shoes in my opinion. I know a lot of people love these shoes, but let me tell you the things I didn't like about them, because I'm sure I'm wrong, but let me tell you. Just after pushing on my board for like the day, I felt like my heel was just sliding up and down on this, and it's just kind of really hard, and I don't know, it's not that comfortable, but I could literally barely walk in these shoes after skating in them the first day. And maybe I just need to break them in more, which I could totally understand. But literally, I couldn't wait to take them off. They hurt my feet so bad. But when it comes to like a Volk shoe, honestly, it is great. Grip is great, a lot of board feel. If you haven't skated Converse before, they have like this pretty big tread on their Volk tape right here around the toes. And honestly, it looks really aggressive. It looks like you got all terrains on like your toes right here. And you kind of do, don't get me wrong. But once you do like a few ollies and a few kick flips, it does wear away and it flicks great. But you do have to get past that like little layer of ATV. The other thing too about this shoe that was not my favorite was that there's no elastic on the tongue right here. It's just kind of like a flappy tongue right here. And the tongue is really thin. So every time my board would like land upside down and hit me on the top of my foot, it really hurt. And the other thing, without having that elastic on the tongue, sometimes the tongue would just kind of start going to one side or the other. So I was kind of always pulling it straight. So those are the few things that did kind of bug me with them. I mean, overall, like they skated really great. They look really cool. Like I think I might just walk around in them from now on. But it was kind of annoying how much they hurt the back of my foot after that first day of skating. And now we've gone to our final shoe, the Etnies Sal 23s. So these are some new reissues as well. These recently just came out. I've only skated them maybe for like a week or so maybe. So for the pros, first of all, just skating these shoes again was really sick. Last time I skated these, I was also like early 2000s, but I also rolled my ankle the last time I skated in these shoes. So like I decided that I was like, you know what, let's erase that memory and start over with this shoe. Just skating this colorway has brought back a lot of memories, looking down, seeing them. All good stuff. And I do like still how they include the rubber ollie patch right here, which is really nice, because I'm surprised, like this shoe, for how much I honestly skated it, it doesn't even look like I skated it that much. And it's definitely holding up, and it looks good still. So the first real big thing I did not like about this shoe, there was no elastic on the tongue. I felt when I grew up, I remember there being the elastic in between the tongues. And so it's kind of like the Converse where like the tongue kind of slides around. The tongue is kind of thick, so I do like that. So it did offer good protection when your board hit you. But low key, without that elastic, it kind of like bummed me out a little bit just because like I love that feeling and I thought that's what they were going to be. And as you can kind of see already, the tongue is kind of slanted to the side right now already. So that, I don't know, that just kind of bothers me. Some people, they don't really mind about this elastic tongue thing. They could care less. But for your boy, that's just, I don't know. It's just something for me. I've noticed if a shoe has that, I usually like it. And if it doesn't, I don't. And bad thing. But right here on the heel part right here, I was kind of worried to see if it was going to hurt the back of my heel. But this is actually pretty soft right here, like the leather that they used or whatever. So even the rubbing and stuff, it didn't hurt my heel at all. It actually was pretty comfortable. I mean, honestly, this shoe felt really comfortable when I first put it on. It wasn't until about the third or fourth session. I don't know if the shoes broke in. I don't know if it's like from pushing too much or whatever. But I honestly felt like the sole started to like bubble, like kind of like, I don't even know how to explain it, but like kind of like spoon in, if that makes sense. Like it felt like it was a spoon right here, like as if the sole got like pushed down right here. And it really started to hurt my foot, honestly. I don't know if it was just like a fitment thing or if it literally just felt like all of a sudden the shoe had concave and it just like gave out or something. But it was weird because it wasn't until like the fourth session or something, like I said, where like it really started to hurt the bottom of my foot. And I was like, whoa, like, dude, I need to switch my shoes. Like this actually hurts now. Other thing too I didn't really like about it was the actual grip. In the beginning, I kind of felt like it was pretty slippery and I felt like it had a little slippery phase and it kind of wore out, got grippier. But then I put on just a pair of Dunks and the Dunks felt way grippier. So I was like, oh man, like these things are kind of slick. They weren't as grippy as I thought they were. And they felt like they got better. I mean, maybe if I skate them more, they'll get better, but they've just kind of hurt my feet. Kind of bummed just because like I was really looking forward to skating this shoe. And I did really like it in the beginning, but yeah, just as I skated it more and more, it just felt, you know, less comfortable than I thought. Also, this could be just my opinion. Like I could totally be wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like you did get some good board feel. It had some good cushion with this cup sole, but it was just weird how it gave that like concave spoon feeling and it just like kind of overall hurt the bottom of my foot. I want to try some like Etnies Sal OGs. I haven't skated those in a long time. And I just know they're very similar to this shoe. So I'm worried if these hurt my feet, I don't want to spend money on those and have those hurt my feet. But maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I'll try them out and they'll be great and way better than this. All right, we've made it to the end. We've gone through all of the shoes here. I'm still kind of on the journey to find the next best skate shoe. I have some honorable mentions, I guess, that I do want to try. One of them is going to be the A6 Japan Pro model. I believe that one's very similar to a Dunk. Last Resort also makes a cup sole, so I was going to consider that. I mentioned the Etnies Sals, but maybe not anymore. Oh, and you know what? I have tried New Balances. I did try were 480s. I didn't really like those very much. They weren't very comfortable. I did try some Tiago 1010s, which were very comfortable. I just didn't love the colorway I had in them, so I ended up like not skating them as much anymore. Maybe I'll bust them out again, but also maybe I'll look into some other New Balances as well. But comment and let me know what shoes you guys are skating, especially if it's a cup sole, if it's something you think I would like. Also, let me know what makes a shoe right for you guys. I feel like for me, for some reason, the elastic tongue is a big make or break. Does anybody else feel that way, or is it just me? Enough talking about shoes, because I can be talking about shoes all day, and I feel like this video is probably long enough talking about shoes. So anyways, I'll show you later, you know?